Natasha's Law was created after the tragic death of 15-year-old Natasha Ednan-Laperouse after she suffered an allergic reaction to a baguette.
All her life, Natasha Ednan-Laperouse suffered severe food allergies, including to nuts and dairy. Her parents always made sure she checked labels carefully. And in 2016, that's exactly what she did when she bought an olive and artichoke baguette before boarding a plane to France with her best friend. But minutes after the girls excitedly filmed themselves ready for takeoff, Natasha began to have a severe allergic reaction.
She could no longer breathe and went into cardiac arrest on the flight. We tried in vain to save her life. I injected her with 2 adrenaline pens. However, the 2 injections made no difference whatsoever. And she passed away in front of me.
The baguette, it turned out, had sesame seeds baked into the dough. Tanya and Nad have now set up the Natasha Allergy Research Foundation and have been awarded OBEs for their work in honour of their daughter.
It's an incredible mission that we're on. Our lives are so different now. We're kind of honoured as well to be helping and to be making a difference in Natasha's name.
They say Natasha's Law, requiring a full list of ingredients on pre-packed food, is just the start of their campaign to make sure no family ever has to suffer the same agony as them.
Well, we are joined this morning by Natasha's parents, Tanya and Nad Ednan-Laperouse. It's so lovely to see you again this morning. We've spoken to you many times, haven't we? But this feels like a positive morning, albeit that we know the devastating situation that it's come out of. What does it mean for you to have this be rolled out today?
It feels like we have done the right thing. We've got justice. Not just for Natasha, but for everybody else that's living with food allergies in this country. And that's 2 to 3 million people that have a diagnosed allergy, a food allergy. And so today, it feels a long time in coming. It hasn't quite hit. I think it will by the end of the day, but we're just over the moon, aren't we?
Yeah, really over the moon. This is D-Day, Deliverance Day, of 2 million people who've waited all their lives, allergic lives, to be able to actually go out and buy a sandwich, buy a salad, and actually know what's in it. Finally, the ingredients and the transparency that's long been needed is here, and it will make shopping much safer for them.
I do think the thing as well, sorry, Kate, no. Tanya, that for Natasha to understand that there is a law in her name, that the tragic loss that you have faced, losing your beautiful daughter at far too early an age, but to know that her legacy is going to hopefully save people's lives in the future, as it would have if it had been in place for her.
Well, for us, we lived in a bubble. We lived an allergic life. We didn't realise there were so many other people with allergies. We only found that out after the inquest. And so for her, she always felt that people didn't really understand. She knew the dangers. She understood. She'd had a couple of reactions that were very serious. And so I think knowing that there are so many people out there that are going to be helped, because it's all about information at the end of the day. You are responsible for your own safety, but obviously you need to trust in what you see. So for the food industry to bring in proper processes to be able to be transparent with the ingredients that are in food will undoubtedly save lives.
I mean, there is a sense of sharing in the challenge, isn't it? Because she and you as a family were incredibly careful, took incredibly incredible responsibility for the situation that she was facing. She hadn't had an attack for 9 years before it because she was so careful. And yet still, you were caught out. And it feels like after this, people can't just think, well, it's the customer's problem. The industry can't think it's the purchaser's problem. And that must psychologically, for those that are living with it, having their lives so restricted, be a huge difference.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. I mean, you know, at what point does society or business really say enough? How many allergic people need to be in a population of a great country like this before people say, I will think I'll take that seriously, or I will accommodate your needs as a customer or as a shopper? Well, there are 2 to 3 million people already in the UK and rapidly growing, not just in the UK, but in many other countries as well. This is a real problem for society, and it's so important that businesses and other parts of society actually grapple with this and appreciate the real anxiety and trauma, everyday kind of trauma, that is an allergic life. It's really hard to live around food when you could die by just having a small amount of it, by accident or by someone else's error.
So it's been a dogged battle to get to this point, Tanya, but I'd imagine this is just the first step, really. It's an important step, but there's still a long way to go to get to where you feel like this needs to be.
Yeah, I think it feels like we've only just really started understanding allergies as a society. I think Natasha's inquest sort of started that awareness. And there are so many areas of society, anything from schools to travel to going off to university, whatever, working, in your job, where dangers lurk. And I think raising that awareness is so important. One of the really big areas where we need to really make some changes is within care after diagnosis, pre-diagnosis. There are many, many issues, many problems. Lots of things are going wrong for people, really, from when they first find out they're allergic to actually being diagnosed, and even in emergency care. And so we have a petition for something called an allergy czar. It's a government petition. And we're asking the government to appoint somebody and a lead. It's a lead, isn't it?
Yeah, it's someone to take really responsibility and to bring together the disparate bits and pieces in government services, so schools, hospitals, GPs, bring it all together so it works really well for allergic people. Because at the moment, we've been to too many inquests into the deaths of other children and teenagers in the UK where that system has failed them. And it's shocking to see this can go on year after year.
And if there was that connected thinking, if people were talking, if those departments were talking to each other, there's every chance that they could be saved.
It happens so often, doesn't it, in big organisations and in the health service and other things where you get that disparate connection. Nevertheless, though, today is a triumph for you. I'm sure the sadness is still there, but it's a triumph for you. And I think it's a hopeful message for all of us that's watched your journey as well. It's quite a depressing morning for many people this morning. Sarah Everard case has brought to light lots of concerns over some people from within the force, coming forward this morning saying, they're scared that trust has been broken, something has to be done. And your story of fighting on shows that big change can happen.
Yeah. If anything from this story would urge people listening to us now is to know it's always worth fighting for something that is really important to you or to others, and never to give up, actually. That spirit, I think, is in most people's human nature, and to go with it and do not give up, because it will come through in the end. It's just a question of when, and to go with it. Have heart, really, yeah.
Have that belief. Well, look, you are embodiment of that belief, and your support and trust and love for the memory of your daughter as well is going to live on in a law that is enshrined in law, which is an extraordinary thing to have achieved. So well done. And I know you've set up the research foundation in her name, and your dream is that you can disband it ultimately.
That's the plan.
Because we won't need it, because everyone will understand the importance.
And then we close down the charity.
That's it, a charity.
Because it's not needed anymore.
It's the ideal charity. You solve the problem and it's no longer needed. That is, to me, is a good charity.
Well, let's hope one day we can get there. Nadim, Tanya, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing this moment of triumph with us and your journey to this point. I'm sure we will see you again, though, because I don't believe for a minute that the fight and the journey is going to stop. Great to see you.
Thank you so much.